Hello, welcome back to the JigStones workshop. Today I'm going to do a small project. This is really for beginners, so if you already know what JigStones is all about, you probably want to skip this. I'm going to make probably the most basic of models which beginners like to use to try out the system. It's just a platform halt shelter. Doesn't involve any windows or doors. It's almost like a bus stop. And if you've seen JigStones models on other people's layouts, then you've probably spotted quite a few of them. And they are the most basic of projects to take on. And I'm just going to show how it's done quickly. So I'm going to bring in what I call my magic roundabout, which is what I use, and you'll see what that's all about in a second. So give me a couple of seconds and I'll set up for that. Right, this is my magic roundabout. It's quite indispensable for me. It means I can make large buildings and turn them around as I'm building them. I can see them from all angles then. It's a lot easier. And all it is a circular track which uses ball bearings. I believe you can buy them from a company called Hobbies. Screwed to a board on top. Onto that I can have different size boards which have a location idea underneath there. Just slips onto there, and onto that just a piece of plastic bag that stops the model obviously gluing to the baseboard. So that's how I use that. I'm going to use something called random stone instead of squared stone. Squared stone is the most popular. Just for a change, I'm going to use random stone. If I can show you this. There we go. That's the kind of detail you got on there. It's not quite so easy to marry up with the linking stones, because the linking stones obviously are going to be square and the random stone design isn't square, so we have to fluff around on that. But that's all part of the game. So we've got some main blocks, we've got some half blocks, and we need some apex ones, two of those, and two of the opposite side. That's that. The linking blocks we come to right at the end. I don't put those in until the end part of it. Right, and off we go. The only other thing we need is some glue. I'm using Evo Stick PVA. This is waterproof, or weatherproof. I don't know about waterproof. If they say it is, I suppose it is. Need a brush, and I use cheap brushes from pound shops. You can buy them in sets. It's pointless using a decent brush for this. And some glass paper. I've always stressed that JigStones is a sculptural aid. It's certainly not something you just take out of a box and put together. It does need work, but that's all part of the art of it. And you'll see just how easy it is, or how difficult it is from this demonstration. So first of all, we need to decide what size we have in here. The thing about JigStones is that you can make it up as you go along, which is all part of the fun of it. I'm going to use a main block at the end, one block and a half block on the back, another main block on that end. So that's the footprint, as it were. Along this side we've got the platform, that'll be the back. On top, when we get to the top, we'll have an apex, which will be like that, so it'll be a roof going that way and that way. So all we need to do now is to build upwards, and I'm going to stagger these blocks. What you want to do is not to have vertical joins going all the way down, because it does spoil the look of things. So you'll find that 2 blocks there will make up the back now. half block in there, half block in there, and the gap which is going to come there we'll worry about in a minute. That's going to be made up with linking blocks and end blocks. There's another one on the end, another one on the back, so that's again staggered on the ones below. Another half block there, another main block on that end. There's our apex on there and an apex on there. I'll pick the wrong sort, so that's that one. And that's it. Very, very simple. The gap, as I say, there will be filled in as we go along. So what I'm going to do is just move those. Now we know what we're doing. I'll move those into different groups. And we can start gluing it all together. I do it mainly by eye. You can use a tri-square just to check height, check things are upright or not. I've been doing this for so many years now that I find that just looking at it I can see whether things are right or wrong. I can move this around now, you can see why it's easier having a roundabout. That looks square to me. Just a bit of glue on each of those tabs. Join it up. Now I can see at once that that's not in line, and that's not unusual. What I use is a little bit of plastic, it's a bit of credit card I believe or something, and I'll tuck it under there. It's just gone under by about 2 millimeters or so, depends how much adjustment you need, and that will hold it in place to level it up while it sets. You don't need to keep filing blocks with this system. And this is probably a bit like pulling teeth if you're watching this. And I can assure you it's more fun doing it than just looking at someone doing it. Right, so that's our bottom part done. I'm just going to check the distance between there just by using other blocks. Not that it matters too much. This isn't really rocket science, is it? That's about right. So we'll leave those there. Now the weight of the next blocks on top will start to hold it all together. That's slightly moving there, so I'm just going to tweak that. Doesn't need a lot. In fact, it's almost impossible to. Yeah, that's it. Just check it's all square. That's the bottom part. The linking blocks we'll leave right till the end. Now the next one on top of that we have here. So let's just see how that looks. That's perfect. Glue along there. Some banging going on. There is a bit of building work next door. I believe they're building a conservatory or something, which is perhaps they should be doing it in Jig-Stones. Just keep on adjusting things as you go along. There's no rush with this. I mean the glue's not going to set for ages, so you can keep moving things around. You can take it all to bits if you want and start again. Doesn't really matter. But we need to push over slightly. Bits of glue which ooze out, don't worry about them. Well, it's all going to be grouted anyway. I don't see any of that. Now, as you can see, we're starting to get a formation there. Not looking too bad. It looks upright to me. So we carry on around. Not right or wrong? Not quite there, is it? Right, just stick a little bit of stick on this side. These can be pulled out again once the glue is set, because they're not going in that far. They don't get glued in with it all. It's a heck of a lot easier doing it this way than fiddling around with glass paper. Although I've got glass paper handy if I need it. It's much easier doing it this way. Right, so that's the second lot done. Now we move up to the top one. Normally I would put in some blocks here to support it, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. I'm just going to move it up onto the next layer. As this doesn't need too much support, it doesn't really matter. With a larger model, you might find that structural design does require you to keep on filling in large gaps like that as you go. How's she looking now?